Assalamu alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here, breaker of the seven seals, messenger of the covenant, as spoken of in Malachi. Brothers and sisters, I just want to talk a little bit about the tribulation. That tribulation, a time of unprecedented trouble. See, most people are making light of that. First of all, they don't understand what it means. Then they're making light of it, or they don't even pay attention to it. But it's a period that we must go through. We're the end time generation. Elijah Muhammad mentioned it because I told you there was this young brother, FYI, when Elijah Muhammad was given Q&A doing theology of time, something Farrakhan would never do. And the brother asked, said, "Dear Holy Apostle, I can't wait to the time, right, when we go to war and so forth." I said, "No, brother." He told him, "Don't pray for that time." Because he said, "You don't know what you're up against." And as I repeated before, he's telling them something like that. That time of theology of time, Messenger Black Man was in print, already printed in circulation. Made to Live, 1 and 2, Fall of America, Our Savior's Arrived, the whole thing. So if he's telling a brother he don't know what he's up against, that means that information is not available in those books either. When these people come tell you, "Hey man, what you that's the only guidance," and they tell you everything, they're full of shit and they know it because they have no idea, because right now they're blind, they have no idea what's going on. They have no idea what's going on. They're totally blind. But see, they're about themselves because they got this vision, they got the stars in their eyes where they're going to be like Elijah. They're going to have this big following, and they're going to be the next Elijah. For some of them, right, they got a little small following enough to pay their rent, like Silas and them, or he living off of them. Farrakhan, he's living off the big time, right? So whatever. But they're not about the people. They're about themselves. Because they're about the people, they'll be about this truth. They ain't about this truth. They're not interested. But they know they come to this truth, they have to stop exploiting the people. Because there's no exploitation here. There's no exploitation here. None. We don't want your money. We don't want anything from you. We're in the process of not even giving you anything. What we're doing is we're taking and bringing all that knowledge and wisdom that you have embedded in you, we're bringing it out. We're cultivating it. Because we can't put something in you that's not already in there. You can only cultivate what's in there and bring it out. We're not about exploitation. And God's not about, well, at least our God. I mean, their God. That's his whole, modus operandi, right? Exploitation. We're now seeking to kill, steal, and destroy. So they're not taking scripture seriously, and they're not really taking Messenger of Black Man stuff seriously either, because there's nothing in there that speaks to right now. There's nothing in those books that speaks to right now, explaining what's going on right now and what to expect. Nothing. There's nothing Farrakhan saying right now that tells them what to expect, what the future's going to be like. Nothing. He's into watch the weather. Watch the weather for what? Right? That's it. Just watch the weather. And the Bible gives great detail, and the Quran gives great detail about how it's going to be in the end. But they don't speak to that because they don't understand it. Or they don't believe it. Whatever the case may be, they don't speak to it. But that's something you need to speak to, because all the scriptures surround the end time relative to us. Because we're the core of this. We're the core of the scripture. It's all about us. In the context of the end times, the birth of the nation, the end of Dr. Shabaz's process. He started a process 50,000 years ago, and now we come to the end of it. And it tells us it's going to end in this great tribulation. And it tells you, it gives you things, tells you, gives you information about the tribulation. It's going to make children gray-headed. It's going to make people walk around drunken that's not having a drink. people's hearts going to be failing for fear of those expectations. They're only from just expectation of things coming upon earth. Because the powers of the heavens will be shaken. See, what do you mean the powers of the heavens will be shaken? See, that means right now, who has the power in the heavens? Who has the power in the Middle East right now? Who has it? Who has it? Gog and Magog and false Israel. They got the power, right, in the Middle East right now, and the dragon. It says it's going to be shaken. It's about to be shaken. And it says when it's shaken, it says men's hearts will be failing for fear of the expectations of all the hell that's about to come on earth, right? Because the powers of heaven will be shaken. You understand that? That's a very powerful verse. But it says, now they realize, because when the powers of heaven is shaken, that means false Israel is gone, taken out. America and Britain is kicked out, right? Dragon is kicked out. And the very fact that abomination of desolation and false Israel gone, right? That means the powers is totally broken, shaken in the Middle East, but it has so very devastating implications, because that means they wasn't Israel. That's abomination of desolation. They wasn't real, and they're gonna make that calculation in a split second. Because if they are, then we are, and if we are, who are they? If we are the true seed of Abraham, and these evangelists and all these people, you know, the evangelicals and all that kind of stuff, they believe in all this stuff, and these black Negro preachers, they teach all this garbage, right? These demons, and all of a sudden, it's what they've been teaching with firm resolution for years. It's totally may turn to a lie instantly, overnight, dramatically. What's the implication of that? That means if we're the true seed of Abraham, which they've been trying to cover up, disguise for forever, what does that mean? That means they are not the good, great people they try to pretend on. That means they're evil, and all this crap's happening as a result of God's attacking them, right? And their first sign of attack is that their devastation over there in the Middle East. Just not even mention that they're going to instantly go to war with Russia. Well, right after that. So it's going to come clear, because this lie is all based on false Israel, that cornerstone. Once that's gone, that lie is nothing to base that lie on, and the truth will be so dramatic, because now if we're the truth of Abraham, then calculation, who are they? And what's going to happen to them? The days of vengeance says we're going to take and the thing is, all the evil they've done to us, and it says these are going to be the days of vengeance, that we're going to take revenge on them for what they did to us. What would you do? If you've been beating and beating somebody, raping them, everything, and doing all this kind of stuff for them for years, and all of a sudden, right, they get away, and you know they're going to take revenge. I mean, you don't want that. If you can stop it, you're going to stop it. That calculation be made in an instant. See? That's why it says men's hearts will be failing for fear of things that come upon the earth, because now all the plagues and all that, now they understand that God is after them, because Jesus didn't come and rescue false Israel. See, that's the expectation, that in the very end, at the very last moment, right, that Jesus is going to come and rescue false Israel when it looks like it's about to go. And then he's going to go against the Muslims, everybody can whop everybody's ass, kick everybody's ass and everything, and sell false. But then with false Israel, that doesn't happen. And they see that Jesus didn't come. They realize Jesus ain't coming to help them. He's coming to destroy them. And we the people he come and destroy them because of. You see, I mean, you put the picture together, what would you do in that situation? Especially, and at that time, America would be in deep trouble. America's in trouble right now, having food shortages and everything else. At that time, it's going to be very dramatic. It's going to be like a quantum leap, because it's going to jump right into, it's like I can go from cold to boiling in an instant. You see, men's heart will be failing for fear of those things coming upon the earth. But now they know all America's about to be torn apart. They know it's about to be invaded. All the stuff the Bible, because all they saying that stuff is supposed to happen to opponents of false Israel. They've been saying all those evil things, hell and damnation is going to happen to opponents of false Israel. But now they know false Israel was a lie. That means all those things will happen to them. Oh man, their enemies, they're going to hell, and God's going to destroy them, and he's going to kill them, and he's going to crush them in the dust, and he's going to do all this stuff. This is what they expect. This is going to happen to the people that's against false Israel, including us. And now to find out that's going to happen to them. So men's hearts failing for fear of those things, expectation. I mean, he ain't got it yet. Expectation of those things coming upon the earth because the powers of heaven have been shaken. Now, if their hearts are failing, them heart attacks, I mean, this is across the board, wholesale. So if they have heart attacks just from expectation, what the hell do you think they're going to do when it actually comes? And that's going to trigger the abomination of desolation. That's going to trigger Armageddon. It also triggers the tribulation. Because that's going to say flee. That's why, because it's going to be a tribulation period. They're going to be trying to wipe you out. Why are you telling you to flee? You're fleeing for your life. You don't just leave everything behind because you're fleeing, right? Because, you know, you got a headache or something. You're fleeing for your life. Because when you flee, you're fleeing for your life, your very life. And you don't have a moment to spare. That's how bad it's going to be. And that's just the beginning of it. The tribulation. And I'm the only one really explaining it to you. And you're going to go through it. Unfortunately, for a lot of you. And it's like that incubator. It's like a makeup, but you don't want that makeup. And all these clowns run around here talking this stuff, man. Oh, you know, hey, they won't be talking like that when they see tribulation. Crime tells you that. When they see that, they be crapping themselves, pissing on themselves. I mean, literally. They be crapping themselves, pissing on themselves when they face tribulation and realize they got to go through it. It says, even a strong man, these so-called seals and all that kind of stuff, the devils, it says, when this hit, they're going to be hiding. I mean, this is talking about after the time of the China invasion. They can be hiding in alleyways, holding their guns like a woman travailing from birth. They said they're going to be so scared. This is a time of fear, intense fear. It says great fear came upon them. It's a time of great, intense fear, especially for those in the heart zone. Oh man, it's going to tear the hearts apart. I said most of the hearts is going to fail. You have heart attacks, people just dropping dead. When false Israel goes down, you have some people just dropping dead on the spot because that's something that cannot happen. They said, I mean, you got to understand that, brothers and sisters. I can't get this over to you closer. In their mind, they got this. They lock that in their mind because they have to. Otherwise, they have to come to grips with they're evil people. They got everything. They stole, they genocide, they killed, they maimed, everything they got. So they got to create this false idea in their mind, and it's reinforced by false Israel because they fall. If they're the true ones, then we're not see that we're him, that they're the ones. But we're him. We deserve to be slaves, so they didn't do anything bad to us. See? If you're in prison, you don't get. If you can't send by the guards weeping your ass because you're a prisoner. See? So we ham and we're born to be slaves, cursed to be slaves. They didn't do anything evil to us. And if this is their promised land, like they say, because they say they're spiritual seed Abraham, they didn't do anything about taking this land from the Indians because it was their promised land. See, they consider America their promised land. It was like a virgin land, like it was really Mary in the Bible. It was like a virgin land to them. It was virgin land. They came, it was pristine, it was beautiful. I mean, they don't mess it all up. You see. But you have to understand how this works, brothers and sisters. Because they've built in their mind that America's founded on justice, freedom, and equality. Was it? How the hell was that when they was raping and murdering and raping women and everything else? And then Jefferson, that great idols, they was great slavers, but they still honor them. Oh, well, they make excuses for them. Where in the Bible does it make excuse that, well, if you write a great document, then all your sins will be forgiven? That you can rape all you up if you write some great document. Show me that verse. Show it to me. We said this is the time of Jacob's trouble, talking about us. And so you got these people running around here instead of getting on board and helping help this nation to come to birth. See, they're actually hurting it. They don't realize they're hurting. And they talking big, they talking big. Something got in their mind, so they got this idea that they think they got from Elijah. But we only got one life, so hey, if things go south, I just shoot myself. I ain't got to go through all that. Really? You think that's the way it works? Okay, but you're gonna see it. And when you see it, you're gonna shit your pants and you're pissing your pants. I'm not talking about the sisters out there. The sisters are gonna pass through judgment. Most of them, except if you one of those out there aborting all your children. See, and you're doing things that's adverse to the nation um, intentionally. See, I'm not gonna go all that detail. If you're a demon, sure, you out. But if you're a original sister and you go out there and doing things that intentionally damages to our people, and you out there aborting your children and encouraging other women to abort their children, all that kind of stuff, right? I'm not saying what you did before you heard about the angel. If you heard the angel and the angel got you straight, and we don't look anything past the angel. Well, after the angel, your life started with us at the time that you came in contact with the angel. That's when life starts with us. So sisters, they passed because they was the only warriors the last 500 years, or you wouldn't even be here, except for those exceptions I just mentioned, and some other exceptions. For the most part, the sisters, they're not a threat. They pass right on to the hereafter. Their names in the book of life in general. So there's no, when you come and you step up, you're in. Your name had to be specific. You're in. Because we're not going to put our sisters through that. After all this, our sisters went through for us because we didn't protect everything. And then we're going to put them through hell of a tribulation? Are we out of our damn minds? We don't deserve to have a woman. We keep doing that to them. No, they protect it. And unless somebody's going to kill me and stop me from protecting them, but I'm going to be their champion. So they pass right into the hereafter, except for those exceptions. I'm not going to put them through all of that. I mean, I put them through enough. Right now, if it was up to me, that's why I say I was in disagreement with Farad on this case. He said he wanted to wait until 120,000 speak out there left hand and right hand. And I was against that. And I said, told you, reading Jonah, we disagreed on that when I was really upset. It was up to me, man. Would the sisters be already gone? They would have been out here. They won. 2019, bam. Okay, sisters, here's your ticket out. We don't need to put them through anymore. You brothers can't understand that. See, I can't understand either because I ain't a sister. But I ain't stupid either. And you have no idea what these sisters in their hearts. You have no idea what they go through. We don't because we're not sisters. See, so I have to try to understand. I try to figure it out. Watch my daughters and then grow up and stuff like that. I try to figure it out. I mean, but I can never really know. But I know one damn thing. We're supposed to protect them, look after them, and give them security. How as well as that is after we went through 4 years of hell and we're here because of it, and then we're going to go through tribulation because the bullshit. And then we're going to call ourselves men. Because 90% of why we're going to war is to get their honor back. It's 90% of it. We're going for them. So anyway, we're going to look at this verse right quick. At that time, so Michael, let's see. They don't even talk about Michael. When the last time I heard anybody talk about Michael? You ever heard? Can I talk about Michael? No, because you don't know who he is. But you got to know who Michael is because he's the one going to deliver us. But he never mentions Michael, so he has no idea. He don't even mention this stuff here. At that time, Michael, the great prince that has charge of people, he shall arise. There shall be a time of trouble. That's a tribulation such as never been since there was a nation till that time. Unprecedented. The other verses say unprecedented. It means the same thing. There's nothing, that same thing. It means unprecedented. But at that time, your people, that's the 144,000, that's the seed, right? Of Abraham, they'll be delivered. Everyone whose name shall be written in the book. That means Lamb's Book of Life. They tell you about that in Revelations. Because he got to certify you pure gold. Because we left our angels, but we're going to return as gold. He got to certify you. Make sure no impurities or anything. That's what the incubation period or tribulation is all about. Because some of you just don't meet that standard. But you come close. So you have to go through, because it ain't no It's zero tolerance. You got to be 100%. You can't be 99.9% pure. So if you're not, then that means you still got to go to tribulation to get that extra point. And so they'll be delivered. They're going back over to the Middle East. See? That's what the will is for. See? They're going to be delivered. See? But list these are two other categories. Those are two you need to think about. And many of those are sleeping in the dust. See, a lot of people still sleep. Sleep in the dust of the earth. That means here in America, because we're in the earth and we're in the dust of the earth here. Right? Still awake. Then they still awake. See? Couldn't get them awake before. Couldn't get Lazarus woke before, but now they're awake. See? Some that this call balance system is persistent. They send us a message because it's and many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall rise, awake. It's everlasting life. It's a good thing, but it wasn't delivered. That's the point here. They were still asleep. They had to go through tribulation because they didn't wake up in time. And you don't want to go through that tribulation. You can talk all that tough crap and everything you want to. I don't want to go through it. I know it's to go through it. I mean, I could. If I just want to go in and I could be a help to get our people together. But I'm not going to. I'm not going to go through it. I'm not putting myself through that. Because the Quran tells you don't want to go through that. Muhammad even said, he says, he didn't think he could survive the judgment. He said Bilal probably would get him before him. He said he was a prophet. I mean, nobody blames Master Muhammad for anything that I know of. So that's when those are the ones who have to go through tribulation. But they will get to the hereafter where it says, come to everlasting life. They'll make it. They'll purify themselves. See, now you got to read further in Daniel where it says, right? Okay, you see it. Look, we're going to look further down. But that's what all's about, because the Levites got to go through tribulation because they failed in their mission, right? Because that's why a lot of people are going to tribulation right there, because of the Levites, because they were like the protectors. They were supposed to protect the womb, see? And enlighten the womb with Elijah Muhammad's teachings. That was what they supposed to do, and they failed. They let Farrakhan come and deceive them. Okay? So they didn't protect the womb. So now the demons came in and they started attacking the womb. And so that's why a lot of people find themselves in that position that you see right now, that they have to go through a tribulation because of them. So now they have to clean it up. And then look at the next line here. And it says, some of them, the shame and everlasting apartment. That was the demons and everything. They did destruction. They weren't delivered either. See? And they don't go to everlasting life either. See, most of them are just in their existence ended during the tribulation. But look at this next line here, verse 3. And those who are wise will shine like the brightness of the sky above, and those who turn many to righteousness like the star forever. See? So when you read Daniel, I'm not reading this verse, but you read further verses, it says that during that time, right, that they would clean up a lot of people. And that's what the Levite's job will be. To purify you, to finish the process for you. See? Because that's why I said Suleiman he would go in, he's the one he would go in, he's the one that gets rid of the son of perdition. He has to go and clean up the temple. That's what it says. He had full of soap, he has to go in and clean it up. Right? And then educate this Levites or the NOI. So now they will have the necessary understanding and everything to go through this tribulation, to survive tribulation, and finish the process of cleaning up our people in the incubator. That's what it's all about. But you don't want to go through that, and they don't want to go through it either, because it's going to be a time, there's not going to be any food around. It's going to be it's going to be a period, it's going to be a period of months, maybe the whole year, because the time of pressure trouble lasts at least a year. Because that's the day of the Lord, and last year says to be nothing like it. It's a 1 year period. The tribulation will last at least that long, but whether you go through it for the whole year, that's another story altogether. That's up to Master Muhammad. Because he's the one gonna have, he's the one to deliver you on that end too. He's the one that separates the, when you separates the war so you can go, that's another story. But the point is that during the winter, it's gonna be blasting cold. And summer, it's gonna be blistering heat. There's not gonna be any food. There's not gonna be any shelter. There's not gonna be any electricity. And you're gonna be constantly on the run because you're gonna be chased, like it says in Exodus, for one of two reasons. One reason is that the government is trying to get many of you to help fight them in that war. He's trying to pull some of you back. It's the citizenry that's mostly going to be trying to attacking you because now they know they had no hope. You destroyed their hope. You destroyed their dream. You destroyed their religion. But they're going to blame it all on you like they always do anyway. Because now you just see they maybe you want to boil their trouble. You didn't bring their trouble on them. They brought trouble. It's like the CRT stuff. It's a theory. You just telling the history. If you didn't want the history, you shouldn't have committed that history. You should have made a history. But no, don't tell my children my past. You see. So this time will be, like I said, unprecedented. And you won't have to go through it. But if you're going through it, like I said, the weather will be terrible. There won't be any food. There won't be any shelter. You won't have Master Muhammad protecting you. See? What he will do is he'll deliver you if you make it right to the rendezvous place of rendezvous. Like I said, what would you deliver in Exodus? When you got between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea, that was a place of rendezvous. That's on the West Coast. So they're gonna be chasing you, right? And then when they chase you, that's gonna be the same time that the goat is taken and they did debarking, right, from the ships because they've been moving in. They invade America. So both these things happen at the same time, and you can be between the two. And it says that's why people say, "Oh, wait a minute, what you do to us? We got Pharaoh's army behind us, and we got the Red Sea in front of us because they see the Red Sea as the goat going to kill them too." And then what happened is that the Red Sea, if you understand the angel, the Red Sea, right, parted because the Master Muhammad made it part because he's the one that's guiding the goat. The goat had a horn between his two eyes. Those eyes are Master Muhammad. You know it from chapter 17 because chapter 17 says, right, that that God gave them the spirit and inclination and inspiration to attack the harlot America. So God was putting their hearts to do it. That means he's guiding them. So he tells them, no, let these people through. So that means they go through. That's how they get through. That's rescue. Those that make it to there. That's what that's all about. But nobody's going to be laughing. You ain't going to be getting much sleep. Right? You're not going to be eating each other, but you might find a few people in there that ain't for real. They might, they're hanging on because it says to be a lot of people hang on for blandishments because they don't know what else to do. And they know black folks in trouble. Like I said, and the government also, they got 17 million demons out there they try and convince to help them in their war. And then many black folks that's left over, right, from us, because almost 17 million of us will still be here under tribulation. Well, not that many, because all the sisters going to be gone, at least the original sisters, right, the one I mentioned. So you can say it'd be millions still. A lot of them ain't going to make it. Well, actually, before even that, a lot of them going to be wiped out just in the time to flee. When the bomb desolation, a lot of them going to be wiped out just doing that. But a lot of them going to be wiped out in that battle, right, during the tribulation period. And it says, many shall join on blandishment, because remember, it's going to be all black folks on the attack. So they said that blandishment means they're going to say, yeah, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you and everything else, because they don't know what else to do. And they ain't really with you. But, and so you got to watch out for them because they you don't know what they may do. Okay. So you'll be tested dramatically You'll be hungry. You'll be tired. You'll be cold. You'll be on the fire. You'll be sleepy. You're constantly on the fire. People chasing you. So you wonder how you're going to make it because there's no be no food. And you're not going to be eating white folks. I wondered about that myself for a while. And I got an answer. I'll just say this. Maybe I shouldn't say anything, actually. There will be some food in America, but there'll be any military installations under guard for the military. I'll leave it there. I'll let those spies, brothers, doing tribulation to figure that one out. But that food will be under guard. And it will not be distributed to the public. It won't. They're gonna be starving out there. That's what you're gonna have to go through tribulation. And so for you to sit around and talk that big talk you're talking now, okay, we say you're gonna be talking in a few more days. But we ain't talking about months anymore about tribulation. I mean, from my understanding, I can't say because it says up to Farah. I mean, that's the one thing about the angel that bugs me because it tells me everything else. It won't tell me that. It tells me close. It won't tell me exact date. Because that's up to, you had the same thing as Jonah. Jonah was told us, but then he overrode him. He's the God. Hopefully, I'm not on board with that, but he's God, and I submit. I still have my opinion. But I submit. Right? That was the only disagreement I see in the scriptures that Suleiman and Master Muhammad had in Jonah. And if you read it carefully, you can. I mean, I'm not gonna say gotta justify it, whatever, because you can't see it. You see it from your perspective. But see, this is what John was coming from. I'm gonna have to say this because this really gets to me here. It wasn't so much that Master Muhammad said, "Okay, I'm not gonna do it now." This what really bugged him because he told Jonah the priest said end was coming in 40 days or 40 years. That would have been if Elijah Muhammad left in 75, right? 40 years from that would have been what? 25, 15, that would been 2015 during Obama's rule. And if you read about Daniel, right? Obama is Belshazzar, and Babylon was destroyed during his reign. That's when it should have been. And that's when Jonah was told it did. That's what I was doing. I was doing that. Even Elijah Muhammad said the last president of the United States was a black person. And I was telling everybody that. And when Obama came president, they said, "Oh, man." And a lot of people was listening to me during that time. Man, a lot of people on board. They said, "Oh, man, you've been saying it for years." So here I am. I'm saying this. It's happening. Right? A lot of people standing with me because of it. My family, they finally, everybody got religion then. I had no problem with my family at that point. I got religion, right? Because that was it. It was clear. Everything they said was clear. But the thing was is that Jonah just didn't believe. He just said, "I don't believe that you're gonna do that. I just don't believe you're gonna do it." I mean, I ain't calling you a liar, right? But I know you love the nation of Islam. I know you love these people. And that's your baby. I got just a sense that you ain't gonna do it. You say it's 40 years, but I'm not calling you a liar or anything. I just, you compassionate. I mean, Master Muhammad loved us, brothers and sisters. He specifically loved the nation of Islam. That's his baby. He set it up. And I knew that. I said, man, he's going to show mercy. He's going to show something in the end. And see, I wasn't really versed in Jonah at the time. If I didn't verse in Jonah, I would have never went to Guam. I would never made any of those mistakes because that's a book I had never really studied. Wish I had studied advanced because I would have did things a whole lot differently because I would never end up in Guam because that was a hellhole, boy. I really caught hell over there. I mean, it was really bad. So instead of going in and teaching that, remember, I hadn't taught it yet. I hadn't told people. Instead of doing that, I went and took off, man. I didn't want to go and I didn't want to go and tell Farrakhan anything. I just wanted them destroyed. So when I was told, oh, you gotta tell them, America, America's about to be destroyed in 40 years and that kind of stuff, which meant 2015. And I said, man, I took off. See, that's the only time it shows in there, right? And Suleiman was, he didn't submit. He didn't submit. It says it right in Jonah. He didn't submit. He said, because him and Master had a disagreement about it. Now, scientists, they do have disagreements. He's the God. I'm not saying I'm putting myself in this position. I just disagreed. And this way gets to it. Because I was right. That's what got me. I was right. I knew he wasn't going to do it, and he didn't. And I left. Ended up spending 3 years, like it says, Jonah spent 3 years on this island, and they put me in jail and everything else. They went through 3 years of total hell, right? And it was there that I felt I got familiar with Jonah. I started realizing what was happening. My game, Master Muhammad, I felt his hand in it, because the stuff that was happening, I felt his hand was in. I know about the five fundamental principles of Islam. I know about the mathematics. I still felt his presence. Because I was deliberate and I shouldn't have been, because the whole island was against me. So then I came back and I preached what he told me to preach. I got my little chastisement. I preach, right? See, I told you, don't put me up no pedestal, brothers and sisters. That was divinity stuff. But it said, when Jesus was our sin and everything, that's not what it says. It says, by the things he suffered, he learned obedience. Read it. Google it. It says, by the things he suffered, he learned obedience. So it said, wait a minute, read, unpack that. Suleiman. By the things he suffered, that means he learned. If he didn't hear to learn obedience, that means he wasn't obedient to begin with. And he was suffering because of his disobedience. That was me. I wasn't obedient in the beginning because I didn't know how to be obedient. I had to learn these things. But as I learned, I corrected myself. I wasn't willingly disobedient. As I say, by things he suffered, because he was suffering all these things, and he started, and because of suffering, right? He changes. This is the way he was handling stuff, the way he was processing his energy and everything, and he learned obedience. But that means he wasn't obedient to begin with. See? So I don't tell all this worship all this stuff. No, he's without sin, all that kind of stuff. No, you got it wrong. See, when they say out of sin, they talking about something else altogether different. The things he suffered, he learned obedience. I had to learn to be obedient, just like you do, because we was taught to be otherwise, and we wasn't doing it intentionally. We was doing it because we didn't know any better. So remember that. Look at that verse. See? But in this case, I was willingly disobedient, and I was right. So then I came back and I started teaching it. Like I said, my family came on board. These people started standing with me. Man, it was like a great time. Man, Obama was president, and it was like this went on a couple of years, right? 2 years, I forgot. No, it was the whole 8 years he was president. I don't know. I forget. That's 15. He came president, what? I forget. Anyway, you can do the numbers. Well, it was several years. Everybody, man. See? And then it didn't happen. And everything come crashing down. I'm the false prophet now. I misled people. And that's what pissed me off. Because, see, I had to take that attack. Not because something I did. See, I felt like Master Muhammad left me holding the bag. Because his decision, I got called a false prophet and everything else, doing what he told me to do. Doing what he told me to do. I got called a false prophet, a liar, and misleading the people, deceiving people, and everything else. And I did. I did everything I was supposed to. He told me to do, but he didn't follow through, and it fell back on me because he wasn't around to take the heat. I took the heat. I took a lot of heat for that. A lot of heat for that. And that's why I mentioned it right now. That's what really bugs me about the whole thing. Otherwise, no, I'm okay. That's what bugs me the whole thing, and I'm still bugged about it. The Master Muhammad's God, and I ain't gonna never mention to him again. That's the end of that. It was a lesson in somewhere. There's something you're trying to teach me. I just ain't figured out yet. So all things work for the good. So I just say, it's a lesson you're trying to teach me, and that's the only way you can get it to me, and I just haven't figured it out yet. That's what I leave it there, brothers and sisters, because I love Master Muhammad more than I love life. See? Because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't even be here. He impregnated this nation and started the whole ball rolling. You understand? So I have no issue with Master Muhammad. I never had an issue with issue with that point. You know, because I figure, I mean, let me just say this. I figure I got a hard enough job to begin with. 30 years, I said I'd be walking alone, 8 billion against me, all this stuff, breaking the seal. I mean, that was like a monster. All this stuff I had to go through. I had to lost my family, I lost everything, houses, all that kind of stuff. Because then my family came back together. When I came back from Guam, I started to, yeah, everybody was on board then. Then they're going back again. So after all that, and I got to deal with all this here, I didn't need to make a prophecy like that that failed. And then I got hit. So in other words, I felt like I lost my credibility. It's just like, you walking around and you build a whole life of profession, everything, and everybody's this guy who knows he's talking about, and then you go out and say something that's totally stupid that you don't have no credibility after 50 years of building up great credibility, and you lose overnight. And that's what happened. I lost all my credibility because nobody listened to me anymore. I mean, for a couple of years, I was like, I'm the dumbest man on the planet. Look at me, that dude, man. He made all that stuff. He got all those people involved because I got involved because of that. And I didn't know how to recover from that. And I felt like, how would you do that to me? And that's what scripture says. Because you killed my credibility when I got credibility is all I got. Because put it like this, brother and sister. You go out and tell people, see, he broke the 7 seals, see? He's a messenger of the covenant, see? He's the Christ or Antichrist because he's conception. You see, all these things, that's how you say he's the one. Because you look at all these different things, see, he's the one, he's the one, he's the one. You see? That's credibility, that's building credibility. See? So then if you do something that's totally then you destroy all of that because that's how you convince people because you say, see, all these different things. So I should just leave it there, but this gets a little deep here, brothers and sisters. Because if you go back and say with Jesus and Jesus in the past, that wasn't what that was just saying. He says he prayed that the people would not understand what's going on. I mean, that demons and devil and that kind of stuff, right? But what they tell you? I didn't mean to get this deep, brothers and sisters. Like I said, we ain't really get deep in this stuff, right? And it took me a while to kind of like get over it. Because I was really pissed off for a while. I mean, I was really pissed off. And then I started thinking about it. And what's that? What it says, the only sign they've been given this generation, and of course that one. The only sign they've been given this generation is what? The sign of Jonah. The fact that Jonah would go out there and make a false prophet and it didn't happen. Brother and sister, you gotta love it. So all the credibility, the only really sign is that, hey, yeah, he broke the 7 seals. He's a messenger of the covenant. He got the same conception that is false Israel, the Antichrist, right? But the greatest sign, right, is that he's going to make a prophecy that ain't going to come true. He's going to make a false prophecy. But you got to love it. Let's move on. Brothers and sisters, you got to love it. Like I said, there's a hidden message in there somewhere. I just ain't picked it up yet. So why would you do that way? Because if you false prophet, why anybody listen to you? But that's the sign. I'm going to tell you my personal take on that. Like I said, I'm still thinking about that one. I'll just give you a little insight. See, my opinion is that if you are the true seed of Abraham, it says the sheep know his master's call. So if you're the true seed of Abraham, that thing about Jonah ain't going to bother you. Because you heard the other stuff, and it registered with you. The angel's going to register with you. So that little thing ain't going to bother you. But who will it bother? It bother the time anchors, the demons and everything else. So that's going to turn him away. That's what you want. That's going to turn him away, and that's what you want. That's my take on it. It may be right or wrong. I think that's what it is there. And it might be, and it could be my protection. Because if I had been right, then maybe they would try to kill me if they saw it as clearly as I did. So it could be a lot of things. But whatever it was, it worked for the good. And I haven't had time to really understand it because I got too much time. I spent too much time. No, not too much time. But I spend my time right now getting this message to you, brothers and sisters. Like I had to stop studying as much. I still study. I had to stop studying as much to get to the message because if I keep studying, I never get the message to you. I had to make a choice. I have to cut my studying back to get the message. So I spend more time getting this message to you than studying. And I spend a lot of that time just trying to get my equipment and stuff up because they attack me every day. Believe me, I spend most of my time just trying to get my equipment up so I can get some message to you because they attack it every day. Those things just consider, brothers and sisters. I didn't mean to go into all that. Okay? But those things for you to consider. But see, we real here. We real here. We know this what for our kind of stuff. We real here, brothers and sisters. That's why Muhammad's our brother. He's not no angel in heaven with wings and I'm not some special floating, I don't float on water and stuff. We got to get you out of way of thinking, brothers and sisters. Because in the hereafter, you treat Master Muhammad just like your brother. It says he's going to come and visit you. He's going to come and eat with you and everything else. So if you up there rolling over the floor, foaming at the mouth and everything else, we don't want that. My brother, assalamu alaikum. You might bow. That's a amount of respect. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Thank you for coming by and see me. Not just Jesus. Oh, man, you're having a heart attack. You're rolling over the floor, foaming at the mouth. Oh, Jesus. No, brother, you got to get out of that. Is that Superman would do the same thing? He'd come and visit you and spend time with you. My brother, yeah, I'm glad you came. I ain't seen you in a little while. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, brother. What you doing? Everything, I know everything is good. It's getting better. Any special news? You got new God coming on the scene. You see what I'm saying? Am I rolling on the floor? Oh, man. Jesus gave me, I can't help myself. He's coming. Jesus on the way, man. I'm having a heart attack. We got to make it on. Brothers and sisters, it won't be like that. And I'm trying to get you out of that way of thinking. We show respect, but we don't worship. When the Bible's talking about worship, it don't mean worship that way. We don't do that because that's idolatry. We show respect. We show love. See? But we ain't rolling in the ground, dust. Oh, man, oh, God is coming. Brother, we're going to get there. Anyway, so I'm going to cut it out. I went a lot further than I expected to go. But anyway, we're just going to stop it here. The tribulation, brothers and sisters, nothing to be played with. So these clowns, they think they tough now, all this stuff. We see how tough they're going to be when they face with it. But again, you sisters, don't you worry about a thing. Like what Steve, you said, don't worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing. I can't say it. But you get that there. Don't you worry about nothing because you already did your worrying. You worried about us. Unless you're in that category I spoke up. I'm talking about the Abraham seed sisters. Okay. You brothers, you're going to have to answer one question, definitely. Did you stand up for these sisters? Because if that's what you're doing, when you're working towards this nation, that's you helping every stand for these sisters. So you had other things to do. Oh man, I got a job, had all things to do. Because when this tribulation, all that stuff not gonna be a damn thing to you. At that time, you're gonna wish that you had everything as soon as you heard the angel. You're gonna wish that as soon as you heard the angel, you'd drop everything and just preach the angel. That's what you're gonna feel like once this hit. So I told you in advance. Because when all that stuff is gonna mean nothing, and you're gonna face the tribulation, you're gonna say, oh, man, I wish I had. God tells you that. I wish I had not took away with this world. I wish I had not took such one as a friend, these devils and stuff. I was worried about my morgue and that kind of stuff. Well, that shit ain't gonna mean nothing. And you're gonna wish I had just dropped that stuff and went with angel. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. We're gonna leave it there. Assalamu alaikum.